Hello everybody, my name is Henry and welcome back to Henry Crafts, the channel where we talk about art and Minecraft. Today I will be reviewing every Battlefront Classic Collection map, so every map from the Battlefront game and Battlefront 2. So I will not be comparing them different because, like, for example, I won't put a map above another because there's hunt mode because that's only in 2, and I won't put one game from 1 beyond one from 2 because there's ground and flying vehicles. That'll just be unfair, but I'll count in some factors like directly, like the graphic. Some maps will be affected by the graphics. So yeah. So let's just get right into it. So we're starting off with Utapau. I will put that at a solid A tier. Not the best map, but not the worst. Hero Assault is really good. And I really like the story mission where you had to take down General Grievous. Next up is Endor, and this is going D because just the graphics were not enough to support, or like, Endor does not represent what Endor should be. I feel like the EA Battlefronts did a better job at that. Next up is Renvar Citadel. To some surprise, I will put this in S tier. Some might be considering why, but I feel like this should be an S tier because it reminds me a bit of Nuketown, how the map circles all around together, and it's just a great map for instant action and multiplayer, especially for multiplayer with its gameplay. Next up is Battlefront 2 version of Camino. I will put this also at a solid A tier because it's a great map. It represents the original source material very well, and there's great sniping locations and great for all the other classes, but it's mainly for sniping that map. Like, if you're trying to get your medals for sniping up, that's the map that you go to. Next up, Coruscant. I'll put Coruscant at S tier because I think, in my opinion, this is the best map in the entire game. Hands down, Coruscant is just the best map because it represents the source material very well. It has a great map design. The command posts are perfectly placed, and the story mission of being in Order 66 as a clone was a great mission. Next up is Tantive 4, and I will put this at a B tier because I didn't really expect much from a Tantive 4 map. Like, no, I'm no fan of A New Hope, but Tantive 4 just ain't it. Next up is Mos Eisley, which I am putting at S tier, but right in front of Renvar Citadel, because it is a great map for Hero Assault and multiplayer, because multiplayer in that map is just great, because everybody's just shooting rocket launchers, and it's the most chaotic yet fun experience. Next up is Geonosis Battlefront 2 Edition. I will put this in B tier because it's worse than the first game because it gives less stuff, yet it's supposed to be an improvement. They tried something new, didn't work, but I feel like the Classic Collection improved it with XL mode, which brought it to life. Next, Jabba's Palace. I'll put this at an A tier because I do like the idea of a map that's a close quarters map. It makes it more chaotic. I will admit, it's not the best for something like online where, again, people are mainly just using rocket launchers. But in this map, playing as Boba Fett is one of the best experiences in this game because of its close quarters. The flamethrower and the frenzy rifle become extremely useful. Next up is Bespin City, which I will put at B tier because, in my opinion, Bespin City, it I like how I like the look of the map, but it seems more like the middle area that's for no man's land, where if you go there, you're instantly gonna get killed, and the rest are all just wrapped. The rest of command posts are all just wrapped around it, so it's trying to be Bespin, but it seems more like they put a Bespin paint coat on just a random map. So next up is Bespin platforms, which I will put at A tier because I feel like this feels more like actual Bespin. The whole platforms or just make it feel like it's Empire Strikes Back. So I'm putting it at A tier. Next up is Battlefront 1's Geonosis. Now this is going S tier because this one you had many vehicles, which made it more chaotic, and the whole point of destroying free power sources was a great mechanic, and the command posts are just great. And I feel like they just did a better job with this one. Alright, next up is Hoth. Hoth I will put above Mos Eisley but not above Coruscant, because I think those two are the best two in the game. Like, if these two are maps that you could play for hours upon hours and have lots of fun. Next up is Camino Battlefront 1. This is going D tier. It's just the map layout is horrible. And the second definitely improved on it. So I feel like it belongs in D tier. Now, next up is Kashyyyk Docks, which I feel is a better map. Like a really good map. The layout is a bit faulty, but the map itself, the look and vibe of the map is great. So I'm putting this at the top of A tier. Next is Kashyyyk Islands, which feels more like just trying to go to different command posts, and every time you go to a different one, another one gets taken. So I feel like this deserves its spot in C tier. Next up is Kashyyyk from Battlefront 2, which I think is a much better map. I'd say it's around the same level as Docks, because it makes you feel in the movie, and the line in the sand mission was just great, because you had to hold the command post and keep retreating and retreating. But yeah, it's a great adaptation of the map, and yeah. So next up is Dagobah, which is going the very bottom of D tier, because Dagobah has very bad heroes. Like, Yoda is one of the worst heroes in the game, or the worst. And the fog makes it so if you're playing against AI, they can see where you are, but you can't see where they are. So it makes it more of an unfair fight. Next up is Naboo Plains, which I feel could have been better. Like, I like the concept of it, but it seems more like just grass. Like, I wish they added more segments to it, but I'll put this top of D tier. It's not too bad, but not too good. Next up is Naboo. Naboo City from Battlefront 1. I'd say this is actually a really good one. I also would place it at S tier. Like, I'd say bottom S tier is a good ranking for it, because it's not one of the best maps, but it definitely represents Naboo better than the other ones on this list. Next up is Felucia. So if you asked me to rate Felucia a couple months before the Classic Collection release, it would have been real low because the Classic Collection improved the visuals on it way more. It used to be very dull and non-vibrant, which is not how Felucia is in the story of Star Wars. But since Insta Classic Collection, they updated it and made the map more vibrant, which I very much respect. And the mission, again, is a great mission. Like being able to fight Accolades is great, but I just wish there was a hunt mode. I feel like it could have benefited from that like a lot. But I would say right behind Utapau. Next up is Polis Massa, which is just a map I do not enjoy. I'll put it above Endor, but it's just a bad map. Like, it's barely scratching about going above Endor because both are pretty bad maps. Next up is Mygeeto, which is one or for a lot of people, the best map. Mygeeto is the first. It's a great map layout. It's one of the first maps. Like, I would say a S tier or A tier. I think I'll put it in S tier, but yeah. Next up is Naboo from Battlefront 2, which what I think they did wrong with this map is they tried to do something new. They did a nighttime scheme, which some people enjoy, but most of the fan base prefers the daytime version. So I'll have to put this in B. It just actually I'll put this, yeah, B is good where it stands because it's a good map, don't get me wrong, but I feel like the nighttime just hinders it. If I want to play that, the multiplayer doesn't really work that good with it, so if I want to play a Naboo map, I would just play the daytime one. Next up is Mustafar, which is going in S tier. It's going above Envar Citadel, because basically everything in S tier, all the other maps could be cut from that, and it would still be like a great game just with those maps. Because all of these maps are great, like Coruscant, Hoth, Mos Eisley, Mustafar, Art, Citadel. They're all great maps. Next, Renvar Harbor, which I am not a fan of at all. I will be putting this in. I'll be putting this in D tier. I'd say it's slightly better than Dagobah, but not by much. Because the harbor, it's just very bad of a map. You need to go around a hill if you're one side just to get to the enemies, or you try and go through a cramped cave. So yeah. Next up is Yavin Forest, which is an alright map. I'd put it in C. But actually I'll move Plains to C tier also. But Death Star, it isn't the best map, but I know it's a fan favorite for many people. So I've never been a fan of it, but I'll put it top of A tier because that's a good map for trying to grind for the elite rifle or the elite shotgun. It's just a great map for grinding, but the mission was very much not good. So yeah. Next up is the Dune Sea. The Dune Sea was just too much for one map. It felt like everything was kind of all over the place. They were trying to do different stuff, and I would have kind of been okay with that. It's just I feel like some stuff could be improved. For example, um, the Sarlacc pit. I really like that mechanic in that map. It's a good mechanic, but the problem with the Sarlacc pit is that it only eats people. I wish it would like attack vehicles, because then it just makes it so everybody can just drive a vehicle and it'll be fine. Or you can even throw grenades in the Sarlacc pit. That would be a good mechanic, but I would put it above the Battlefront 1 Camino, but I feel like just it has a lot of potential. And the last map is Yavin 4 Arena. So there's two sides of this, because it's not a good map at all for if you're thinking of playing multiplayer or instant action. But if you're doing 1v1s or 2v2s, it is an amazing map. It is built for 1v1s and 2v2s, but if you're doing anything other than that, it is way too cramped. So I would have to put at this middle of the line, B tier. And yeah, this is my opinion on how all the maps rank up. I feel many people would match with my opinion on this, because like S tier are all the maps that you really need. Then like all these D maps could probably be cut and people would not very much care, but I still respect all these maps. I think they're great maps. I just think some of them are worse than others, or better than others. I hope you guys liked that video. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe, and see you guys next time.